This is Nick.
This is Jack.
It's Tuesday, TBOY, Tuesday, July 30th. And today's pod is the best one yet. This is a TBOY.
The top 3 pop business news stories you need to know today.
Reminder, Yetis, if you are furking right now, fake working, you may want to move the mouse to the left. Now is your moment. That's your cue.
I know, but it can't just be random, because remember, they have software that detects what they think is suspicious mouse activity.
Double click on that folder they never click on. In the meantime, Jack, we can't furk right now. We got to hit the pod, baby. What are the 3 stories for today's TBOY, man?
For our first story, Deadpool and Wolverine just had the biggest R-rated opening weekend in box office history.
Because this movie accomplished the 4-quadrant challenge.
For our second story, Bitcoin climbed to $70,000 after Trump fanboyed on the coin over at BitCon.
Crypto, it has a brand new marketing strategy, and that strategy is patriotism.
And our third and final story, the craziest new technology at the Paris Olympics are On Running's spray-on sneakers.
We repeat, a spray-on sneaker. This sneaker gets sprayed onto your foot like a spider web.
And it represents the future of physical products.
This thing is wild.
But Yetis, before we hit that wonderful mix of stories.
Fantastic mix of stories. Love the mix today, Jack. Great
Nick
mix.
and I were early adopters of avocados.
Yeah, we were. We're not ashamed about it either. You know, like we put avocados on our avocados. Double down on the avocado, Jack.
Yetis, when Nick proposed to his now wife, he called her the toast to his avocado in his proposal.
It's because she was beautiful and buttery, and I'm not going to apologize for that either. Yetis, but as much as Jack and I appreciate the avocado, we should point out it has one problem.
The avocado is alarmingly inefficient.
Because the avocado is 25% pit.
That's right. 1/4 of every avocado is that gigantic inedible seed that you have to throw away.
I'm sorry, Jack. That fruit to pit ratio, it is pathetic.
You can't even compost that pit.
No, actually, you can compost that thing. That's a story for another pod. Yeah, these other fruits, they have way smaller pits than the avocado.
The peach is 15% pit. The cherry is only 10% pit.
Don't even get us started on the papaya.
A papaya is only 7% pit, but an avocado is 25% pit.
That's a fruit to pit ratio that would make you spit out the pit.
But get this, Yetis. The University of California, Riverside has been working to improve the avocado.
Because for 50 years, the UCR lab has dedicated itself to inventing a new strain of avocado.
And they found it. It's called the Luna Avocado.
Yeah, and besties, this brand new patented avocado has been bred for efficiency.
It is a faster growing fruit than the Haas avocado.
It is a shorter tree for easier picking than the Haas avocado.
And it's a slightly smaller seed than that giant Haas avocado pit.
And you don't have to choke on that pit. Yetis, when this avocado hits the grocery store, is the guac going to be extra, Jack?
Absolutely. Yes, it will.
Guac is always extra. We've already told you.
But it's going to be a little less extra thanks to those innovators over at UC Riverside.
Yetis, tomorrow it is National Avocado Day. A happy National Avocado Eve to all those who celebrate.
Here's a toast to Yo Avo Toast.
Respect the pit. Jack and I, we're going to dice up our 3 stories. What do we got, Jack?
No, we're composting the pit, apparently. I've been doing it all wrong.
15 years before this song, 2 boys from the Northeast met in the dorm. They had an idea that caused a cultural storm. It's the best one yet, but the best is the norm. Jack, Nick, that's it. I don't even think they need to practice. 50%, that's a fat tip. T-Boy City on your at-list. If you know, you know, cause we ready to go. We can't wait no more, so just start the show. Start the show.
For our first story, Disney just released its first ever R-rated movie, and it set an opening weekend box office record.
We're talking about Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yes, we are.
Which solved the 4-quadrant Hollywood problem.
The 4-quadrant problem. Now, yeah, it is. Is it just us? Or does everything Ryan Reynolds touched turn to billion-dollar gold?
Everything Ryan Reynolds is involved with is a huge success.
Except for Green Lantern. We should point that out.
True. That was his one miss.
But this weekend, Canada's most chiseled chin partnered up with Australia's most jacked bicep, Hugh Jackman.
I just looked it up. Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman have both been People magazine World's Sexiest Man.
And we approve because they just created a violent, vulgar, and hilarious Marvel superhero movie called Deadpool and Wolverine.
And those two leading men just brought in $444 million in worldwide box office sales this past weekend.
Jack, could you sprinkle on a little Hollywood magic context for us, please?
That's the 8th biggest opening weekend ever
Yeah.
in Hollywood history.
Oh, sorry, not impressed, Yetis? That beats Black Panther, Barbie, the final Harry Potter, and the most recent Star Wars. The Force is strong.
And here's the wildest part. The movie cost $300 million to make and promote. So already after one weekend, it's brought in $150 million of profit.
What we're saying is that Wolverine and Deadpool just created a profit puppy of a movie in just 72 hours. Sit down, stand up, and I'm trying to do a Wolverine sound. I don't know. Does that work? I sounded like a Wolverine there, right?
Wait, I think he says...
He goes, exactly. That's what I thought, Jack. Yeah, it is. This movie makes the previous Wolverine movies look a little less Les Miserables.
And Ryan Reynolds has struck again.
But besties, here's the shocking part about this story. Because the most impressive detail about this box office triumph, what is it, Jack?
It's a rated R movie.
That's right. It's a rated R movie.
In fact, this is Disney's first rated R movie ever. And Disney's like a 100-year-old company.
Oh, and this is now the biggest rated R movie to ever have an opening weekend in Hollywood history.
Deadpool vs. Wolverine is the best opening weekend in box office history for an R-rated movie.
I couldn't even get tickets, Jack, although I saw the trailer and they curse 7 times in the trailer. That's how you know it's R-rated.
You also know it's R-rated because if you're under 17, they're going to ask you for your parent or else you can't come in.
That's right, Yetis, the R rating. It is the first age gating of the movie industry. It restricts you to be with a parent if you're under 17 years old.
And in recent decades, Hollywood has tried to avoid that restriction.
Yeah.
They want everyone coming into the theater, and that's why PG-13 is now America's vibe.
I mean, Yetis, pretend you're Siskel and Ebert over here. You don't want a huge portion of the population blocked from seeing your movie. Limits the market.
That's why today's movies, half of them are PG-13.
That's right.
Which is an all-time high.
On the other hand, the number of rated R movies has fallen to a record low 20% of the industry.
And the reason only 20% of movies these days are R-rated, we said it on a previous podcast.
We did.
Sex sells, but families splurge.
Family films, they're just better financially than R-rated films. Jack, you know why Harry Potter never curses?
Why?
It's because of this reason. It's why he only says,
What does a British schoolboy say instead of a swear?
I think Harry says screwius uius, and that's how he curses, Jack.
Hollywood would rather sell 4 tickets to the whole family than just 2 tickets to a couple of dinks out on date night.
So, besties, Jack and I wanted to know, why was this R-rated action movie such an economic outlier?
Why was this R-rated movie selling tickets like the PG-13 family movies do?
What the funniest is going on, Jack? So, Jack, what's the takeaway for our buddies over at Disney?
Deadpool and Wolverine solved the 4-quadrant problem of Hollywood.
Now, Yetis, Ryan Reynolds, the star of this film, told a story that explained this R-rated film's success.
Ryan told the story that he watched the movie in theaters with his 9-year-old son and his 79-year-old mom, too.
Okay.
3 totally different generations, but they all loved this R-rated film.
But interesting, the data shows that this Deadpool Wolverine movie had broad age and gender diversity in the theaters, despite the R rating.
It wasn't just the Ryan Reynolds family.
No, it was not. Turns out 40% of the viewers were female, which is higher than your average R movie.
Nearly 20% of the viewers were over 45, which is also way higher than your average R-rated movie.
And 11% of the viewers were under 17, which is double the average R-rated movie.
So this movie won in all 4 quadrants.
Yes.
Young viewers and old viewers, male viewers and female viewers.
And that is just the holy grail of Hollywood. The top grossing films appeal to all 4 quadrants of viewers.
Young and old, male and female.
So Disney's unique combo of energy, profanity, and comedy, and a leading man handsomeness helped it beat the biggest hurdle in showbiz.
Deadpool and Wolverine is the rare 4-quadrant R-rated success.
For our second story, Bitcoin just hit $70,000 after Donald Trump added it to his America First doctrine.
Get this, the crypto community now has a new pitch.
Yes, they do.
Patriotism.
Jack, let's go back to 2021. Miami, Florida. They're hosting the first ever BitCon. I remember it, Jack, because the Winklevoss twins were only this tall back then.
This is back when Miami was going full.
Oh, yeah.
Like they were changing their passport to Bitcoin.
You could not get a taco on South Beach without it including 3 QR codes to buy Bitcoin.
Well, the Winklevoss twins back then said on stage to everyone attending that Bitcoin would hit $1 million. Congratulations, you're all going to be rich, they said.
Well, that is not true quite yet.
Bitcoin is worth about 1/20th of $1 million.
Bitcoin, it's up this year, but it's at around $60,000 for most of 2024.
But BitCon, the Bitcoin convention, was back this past weekend in Nashville, Tennessee, and the people there were more bullish than ever.
Get this, Yetis. One presenter at the BitCon conference said the bear case scenario is that Bitcoin hits $3 million in 20 years.
Let me repeat that. The bear case for this CEO who's on stage, the bad case for Bitcoin is that it only rises to $3 million.
Yeah, MicroStrategy, their CEO, said the worst case for Bitcoin is growing 20% a year for the next 20 years, which would be better than anything we've ever invested in.
He would be disappointed if Bitcoin goes from 60,000 it is today to $3 million.
Jack, remember, what is rule number 1 of the BitCon conference again?
Be more bullish than the previous speaker.
Oh, you've got laser eyeballs? I've got laser nostrils. Don't get near me. But Yetis, then the politicians took over the BitCon conference, and each one, interestingly, preached the same exact thing.
Each politician who spoke at BitCon this weekend preached red, white, and Bitcoin blue.
But here was the fascinating twist. They all seemed to tie Bitcoin's digital future to America's historical past, like some kind of Bitcoin manifest destiny.
It started with Wyoming Senator Cynthia Lummis, who has been a longtime Bitcoin bull.
She said that America should buy 1 million Bitcoin and hold it as our national reserve.
She called it our Louisiana Purchase moment.
Paging Thomas Jefferson and Alexander Hamilton. Can someone sign off on this thing, please?
I guess she was implying we could get a lot for a really low price if we bought right now.
Okay, so Jack, that was kind of shocking, but get this. RFK Jr. went even further on the Bitcoin history analogy.
That presidential candidate said that America should buy 4 million Bitcoin.
And he called it a Bitcoin Fort Knox. He wants a national reserve of Bitcoin to sit next to our national reserve of gold.
But then Trump stepped up to the stage,
yes,
and he had the longest speech of all.
Because Trump used his speech to complete his 180-degree reversal on Bitcoin.
Because in 2021, when the conference was happening in Miami, Trump called Bitcoin a scam.
But over the weekend, Trump said, Bitcoin is going to the moon.
He got a big applause for that line, but he got an even bigger applause with this line.
Trump said you should never sell Bitcoin. He called selling Bitcoin a cardinal sin.
Because remember, whatever the previous speaker said, you have to say something wild.
Oh, you have laser nostrils? I've got laser kidneys.
So Bitcoin briefly hit $70,000, a recent high, after Trump's 53-minute long pro-Bitcoin rally.
It's like the Monroe Doctrine of Bitcoin. So Jack, what's the takeaway for all our buddies over in crypto?
The newest pro-Bitcoin argument is patriotism.
And now, Yetis, interesting thing. Over the years, Jack and I have noticed that Bitcoin enthusiasts, they have a dark view of America.
A big reason to own Bitcoin, they've been saying for years, is that the US dollar is on the decline.
Right. They basically have a pessimistic view of where America's currency is going.
But now, the presidential nominee, Donald Trump, is wrapping Bitcoin in his red, white, and blue politics.
Yeah, in fact, Trump said, I want Bitcoin to be mined, minted, and made in the USA. He's describing crypto like a politician would describe oil. Build it here, grow it here, drill it here.
Bitcoin bulls, they used to preach like YOLO and get rich quick. You need to buy Bitcoin before you miss out.
But now Bitcoin bulls are preaching national security and referencing U.S. history out of nowhere, the Louisiana Purchase.
Those attending Bitcoin conference in Nashville heard that the government should own Bitcoin and that it was a national imperative that it does.
And that's why this weekend we saw the newest argument from the pro-Bitcoin community.
Patriotism.
Hey Yetis, if you're a bestie, take a sec and hit that subscribe button.
And like this video while you're at it. If you leave a comment, by the way, we'll read it.
For our third and final story, the wildest new technology at the Olympics It's spray-on shoes.
On Running invented sneakers that are basically sprayed onto your foot. And it's a preview of the future of physical products.
All right, now, Yetis, I don't want to go all Tyra Banks Project Runway on you, but Jack, can we talk about the wild outfits of the Olympics, man?
I mean, the gymnasts have leotards with 6,000 crystals and a bunch of pearls on them, too.
And Jack, have you seen the men's swim trunks? They are surprisingly long, aren't they?
Well, they're not Speedos. I was expecting really tiny Speedos. They go down to their knees.
As Tim Gunn would say, they made it work. But Yetis, the biggest innovation at the Paris Olympics isn't the bathing suits and it isn't the crystal-clad leotards.
It's one particular sneaker.
It's On Running's light spray sneaker.
The light spray sneaker is going to be worn by Team Kenya for the long-distance running competitions and these Paris Olympics.
In fact, Kenyan runner Helen Obiri was the first to wear this sneaker at the Boston Marathon, and she won the Boston Marathon.
Now, it's called the light spray because they are sprayed onto your foot by a robot.
We repeat, this shoe is sprayed onto your feet like a graffiti artist. You know, I'm picturing Banksy on this thing, Jack.
Football player listeners, ex-high school football players might have remembered taping their cleats. It's like that, but it's just tape. And it doesn't really hurt when you rip off the tape afterwards.
Yeah, like imagine an aerosol spray. This is like the Cheese Whiz, but for sneakers instead of cheese, Jack.
It's incredible technology. We'll tell you more in a second. But it makes On look way ahead of Nike right now, even though On is only 1/10 of Nike's size.
Yetis, to sprinkle on some context, On is the $12 billion Swiss sneaker company.
And their stock is up 50% this year, while Nike stock is down 30%.
But what shocked Jack and I about this spray-on shoe isn't the technology, it's actually the financials.
More on those in a sec. But Nick, how does the spray-on shoe technology actually work?
Well, Jack, I'm glad you asked because the spray-on shoe is basically the same concept as a spider.
Here's how it works. One super techie robot wraps your foot in one single string of fabric like a spider does.
Yeah, it's like a spider web. First, you have to visit a store to scan your foot for like every contour of your foot, like an awkward heel or like your super big toe. It catches it.
And that scan allows them to create an exact mold of your foot,
which the robot then sprays a thread around in one big swoop.
Picture that spider, what he did to Frodo at the end of Lord of the Rings.
It's a scary image, but I know what you're going after, Jack. Yetis, that one single thread around your foot is a 1 mile long thread of string that becomes the shoe.
And it's woven onto your foot's mold in just 3 minutes by that robot.
Boom. The result, a laceless shoe exact and unique to your perfect fit.
It slides on like a sock because there's no laces, but it's way more supportive than a sock is.
All right, but Jack, I got to pause the pod for a second because you mentioned our surprise wasn't the technology, is it, Jack?
It's the price.
Yeah.
You'd think that this wildly technologically fit shoe costs like $10,000. They're so unique.
However, this shoe is going to be available at scale to the masses starting this fall at $330.
That's expensive.
It is.
But it's only like twice as expensive as a running shoe.
So Jack and I were wondering, how can this company On offer such a techie shoe for such a relatively low price?
Well, remember, they only use one string to build the whole shoe.
Let's look at the costs. Instead of 200 shoe parts, this shoe only has 7.
One long string and then a few more materials for the sole.
And instead of 7 humans to assemble this shoe, this spray-on shoe requires just 1 robot.
So the costs of this techie shoe are surprisingly low.
Besties, add it all up. And the most wild technology we've ever seen as we stare down at our feet is coming at scale at a shockingly low price. So Jack, what's the takeaway for all our buddies in the apparel industry?
The next phase for physical goods isn't customization, it's individualization.
Now, Yetis, for all of us, our digital worlds are personalized. From Instagram to X, from TikTok to Pinterest.
With algorithms, we each get a different digital experience, one that is unique to just us.
But here's what Jack and I are thinking. We expect the physical world to follow that lead. We expect physical goods to to become unique to us.
Now, we're not talking about customized Air Force Ones, where you picked a color scheme unique to you, or even a monogrammed bathrobe from Pottery Barn with your newlywed initials.
JCK, I'm going to have this forever.
We're talking individualized.
Yes.
Creating products from scratch specifically for your body.
We're talking products built custom to your unique physical form, one of a kind.
If On can make individualized shoes at scale, then Levi's can make jeans at scale just for you. And Ray-Bans can make sunglasses just for your head.
Oh, and the pharmaceutical industry, they're already testing this. They're already doing medications based off of your DNA.
We're seeing a trend here.
Yes.
The next phase for physical goods is individualization.
It's not personalization, and it's not customization. It's individualization.
Products built from scratch just for you.
Jack, can you whip up the takeaways for us for TBOY Tuesday?
Wolverine and Deadpool had the best opening weekend ever for an R-rated movie.
With the holy grail of Hollywood, a 4-quadrant hit. They got men and women, old and young.
For our second story, Bitcoin briefly touched $70,000 as Donald Trump made pro-Bitcoin promises at BitCon.
A Fort Knox of Bitcoin, the Bitcoin conference, displayed the latest Bitcoin argument. Patriotism.
And our third and final story is On. Their light spray sneaker is custom built for the buyer's foot. It fits just right, and it's super light.
It sprays on, and Yetis, it shows the future of apparel. Not customized, not personalized, but individualized.
But Yetis, this pod's not over yet. Here's what else you need to know today.
First, Jack, plug me in, because it is a big week for big tech earnings.
You got Apple, Amazon, Meta, and Microsoft all announcing their earnings this week.
But, besties, it's not just big tech, it's also a big week for medium tech earnings.
Pinterest, Coinbase, PayPal, they're also announcing earnings this week.
But the big question for all tech, is AI going to boost profits, or is AI just a huge expense?
Second, President Biden just proposed a new bill to make some big reforms to the Supreme Court.
The main change suggested is to limit Supreme Court justices to term limits, and he proposes 18 years.
He also thinks that the justices should be subject to ethics codes.
The Supremes have no comment at this moment.
And finally, Flamin' Hot Cheetos are going to court.
Yes, they are.
The alleged inventor wants some recognition from Doritos.
Yeah, Richard Montañez is the former Frito-Lay janitor who claims he invented the flavor Flamin' Hot.
But PepsiCo, which owns Cheetos, says he didn't invent Flamin' Hot.
So now Richard is suing his old boss for defamation.
And his opening statement in court?
Yeah, Jack?
That's nacho cheese. My little brother told me that one.
Now time for the best fact yet. This one whipped up by our non-millennial besties.
There is a 43-year age gap between the youngest and oldest athlete from Team America in Paris.
Get this, Yetis. The youngest athlete on Team USA is Hesley Rivera, who turned 16 just last month.
And the oldest athlete on Team USA is Stephen Peters, who is 59 years old and still riding horses for equestrian.
But Jack, that's not even the wildest part about this age difference, is it, man?
Stephen's horse, who he's riding in Paris, is 3 months older than Hesley Rivera is.
That's right. One of the members of Team USA is younger than the horse that's being ridden for Team USA. Yeah, and he's added all up in age. It is just in a number, a Olympic number.
And add it all up, and Hesley is 1 in horse years.
Yetis, you look fantastic for TBOY Tuesday. And if you're enjoying an avocado right now, remember, you're enjoying 75% of an avocado right now.
The other 25%, allegedly, you should compost.
And the fruit to pit ratio, we got to work on that, Avo.
It's the pits.
In the meantime, if you want to get a shout out on this show, birthday, job promotion, bar mitzvah, you know what to do.
Click the link in the episode description.
And Jack and I will get you on the pod.
Nick and I will see you tomorrow.
Laser kidneys. And before we go, a happy birthday to Yeti Danny Briscoe down in lovely Louisville, Kentucky.
And happy birthday to Maureen and Suzanne in San Francisco, 2 besties sharing a birthday.
And a good luck to Yeti Mikey Pollock on the Upper East Side, who's taken the LSAT, Jack. And if he doesn't know the question, I guess he can plead the fifth.
I think that's how it works.
I think it's how it works. You got this, Mikey.
That would impress the grading committee.
And good luck to Victoria A. in San Diego, who's taken the bar exam. You got this, Victoria.
And congratulations to our favorite Texan bestie, Kelsey Black, in Austin, Texas.
Because her store, the Bookboro, just won Best Retail in the Best of Pflugerville.
And to anyone else celebrating something today, make it a TBOY.
Celebrate the wins.
This is Jack. I own stock of Amazon, Disney, and Levi's. And Nick and I both own stock of Apple. And we both own one Bitcoin, whose name is Ben. If became a $3 million coin, we'd be very happy.
Sooner rather than later, Ben. Sooner rather than later.
You may have diamond hands. I cut off my hands to sell them so I could buy more Bitcoin.